Hello? Mic check. If anybody is watching, can you let me know how loud the music is? It is just in the background in the workshop, so I can hear it and you can hear it. I don't want it to be too loud. Hello? Mic check. Seems to be okay. So yeah, this is going to be part 2 of the Tiny M build. I'm going to turn it down a little bit more. Yep. So I don't know if you watched the other video where I did the machining of the aluminium. I did that on Monday, I think it was, and we replaced one of the 3D printed parts that holds the Z frame and the motor for the lead screw, and we've got that on. And I've been doing lots of prep work in the week, so I've done quite a lot, but I've also saved a lot for today. So my ultimate goal for today is to get it moving, and there's quite a lot involved in that. We've got to finish off quite a bit of work first as well, and then hopefully that should be simple enough to actually get the Klipper installed, talking to everything and moving. So I'm fairly sure that I have Klipper installed on this board already, so that should be fairly simple, but we have no config on there at all, so that will need setting up. We do have a config from the GitHub, so we could look at that, but that won't link to the pinouts on the board that I've got. So let's have a look at what I've been doing in the week and how far we've got. Let's just get set up a bit. Okay, so this is how far I've got with the printer, and it looks like I've done a lot, but they're only really little things. You can see that I have put a power supply in the bottom. If we flip it over, you'll hear lots of things moving. This is 24 volt power supply, and I actually brought this with my Amazon affiliates. So anything that you might have brought after visiting one of my affiliate links took me 6 months, and I saved up and I managed to get the power supply. And so yeah, that's in, and there are some brackets included in the STL files to hold it in place, so that goes underneath. This is the bracket that I machined on the live stream, and that's holding the motor in place and also keeps the 2020 that the aligns on. Hi Ollie mate, how you doing? So that should hold all of that together and be a lot stronger. You can also see that I've got the wires that go from the power supply up to the board, and also a switch. So we're fairly safe to try turning it on. I'm going to turn off. Let's just quickly turn off that one. I got my iPad set up now. Yeah, it's looking good. I'm hoping that we're going to get it moving today, mate. So if we look on the top, we do have all of the parts in place for the motion system. So the 2 motor coffins, the end bearings and the gantry. So we left it at the last one where I kind of put these in and I was messing about and I was having some trouble with it not moving freely. And it's basically the position of the rails on here, and I think the guides that I printed out just didn't work properly. I know we've still got a bit of a go before I turn it on, but I've done enough prep work that I think we should be okay. So you'll see that this is moving nice and freely now. Same with here, and the degreaser came in, so the rails have all been degreased with the protective stuff that comes with it. And then I've got this bearing lubricant that I've had for ages, and so they do have little holes on the side so that you can squirt it in, but they've all been covered, so now everything moves fairly freely. Not perfectly freely, but freely enough. I put some little end stops on there. So we have end stops to stop it physically moving off the rails. I moved the rails back to the correct position so that the gantry can go all the way back. Let's see if I can use my phone. So I also brought the full version of the DroidCam app. Fancy. So we can see that we have an end stop just there, so that goes back. So that's the end stop. I've put in the belts and I've done a practice run, so I know what I'm up against with the bearing stacks. Same on this side. I did have some problems with this part just here. So the belt was rubbing against the 3D printed part as it went through there. So I just sanded it down so that it had plenty of clearance. Let's turn this around so we've got better light. Go back to the main camera. Okay, so this is the back, and this is the board that I was sent by Big Tree Tech to evaluate and test. So that's the board that we're going to use. It's massive overkill for this printer, but I've got it available, and it has the CB1, which is a clone of a Raspberry Pi compute module. So we don't need a separate Pi for this. Everything is on this board. Like I said, I've wired up. I have connected up the power across the bottom. So we've got the bed power, the board power, and the motor power. On these, they're separate. So you could have a combination of different voltages. Like you might have 48 volt stepper drivers if you wanted to. So what we've got to do on here is obviously connect up all the wires. Also program the jumpers for the stepper drivers that I've got. So I have 4 drivers, which should work. They're not the best, but they should be good enough. So I have 4 TMC 2208s. 2209s are recommended. They can provide more current. These did have some problems with Marlin, but I'm using them on another machine and it works fine. And these should all work. So that is what I'm hoping to use. If they don't work, I do have these drivers that came out of the Chiron. They're very basic drivers. So these will just work in like the most basic step direction, whereas these will work on UART. So the board can communicate serially via these chips. So we can program the current and lots of other things in there. It gives us a lot more flexibility. Also, we've got to connect up like the end stops and the stepper motors and the hot ends and all those other parts. Let's turn this around. So this is the hot end that we are going to be using, and this is all part of the files that we got from the kit. You can see that I've got a fan on one side, fan on the front, but I don't have one for the other side yet, but that should be enough to get us going. Inside we have an actual V6, an E3D V6 that was kindly sent to me by Dominic. After I did him some machining, I sent him some aluminium parts and he did me a trade for this so that I didn't have to use the horrible clone hot end that I already had. And you'll see that there's another end switch on there. There's a couple of things about this that I'm not happy with. Because I've used these hot ends before, you see that they've got the switches on, and I'm a bit concerned that the movement of this is going to be a problem. But that's all I've got to use at this time. I'm hoping to use this nylon braid to cover all of the wires that go from the hot end back to the main board. And potentially one of these cable strain reliefs. Let's turn this round. On a machined piece of aluminium at the top, just there, so that will keep it from wearing out. But I don't know if that is just too much and it's going to stick up too far, because there is a top that can go on this to make it enclosed. So really that's everything that we're going to be doing today. So that's a lot of things to do, and I think what I want to do first is put the belts in, because it was a pain in the backside and I really didn't like the way that it worked. So once we've got the belts in, then we should be just connecting everything up, and I'm only going to be like temporarily connecting things up because we need to do all the cable management. I just want to see if we can get this to move. So let me find the thing. So we do have, this is how you can't see. So this is how the cable is held in place, how the belts are held in place. It's not the best system, and you'll see in a second why I don't like it. So let's get in a position where we can see. We'll turn off that one so you've got a better view. Okay, so basically we've got two motors and two belt paths, and there's like an upper and a lower. So you can see on this back part, there's an upper bearing and a lower bearing on the back, but on the front there's a lower bearing and a spacer. So this motor is for the lower loop and the other motor is for the upper loop. And again, when we look at the gantry, there is an upper bearing and then there is a lower toothed bearing. And these belts that I brought are not very good. They were mega cheap. Okay, so the belts loop around a toothed pinion inside here. And we need to pull it out like that. And it's going to be a bit tricky. Oh yeah, we also want to hold this gantry in place so that it doesn't get skewed. Because if it gets twisted, it will mean that it's printing twisted as well. So just put a clamp on. Hopefully that should stop it from twisting. Okay, so this one follows this groove along and goes around the front, and then it has to go into the gantry. So it wants to go in there and loop around, but it's really tricky. I think they said to use tie wraps. I'm not sure how that helps. Yeah, that's quite easy. Yeah, that was a good tip. So this wants to go roughly in the middle. And then it comes around this side and goes in through there. Okay, and then we have this part that we feed it through. think it went that way. So we have to make sure that everything's sitting on the bearings, and we've got to put it tight. And then get the other belt on at the same time. So this one goes on the bottom run. It goes around the back. And do this. Twist that around. And we feed this one in this side. And we go around the front. Let's do our tire up trick. Yeah, that's a great tip. It was on, I think that was on a Nero stream. Okay. And then feed it in again. See, like every time I touch this, it just falls apart. And once we've done this, we have to cut the belts down, which is going to mean the next time that we put the belts back on, it's going to be really difficult to tension it. Okay, so now we've got to put this little clamp on the back. And tighten it up from the front. Okay, so that's that's just enough to hold it in place. On the back, we've got the motor mounts, and they can be moved. So as we unscrew these, we can position the motors. And at the moment, we just want them loose. And then I can pull it. So we can tension the motors after we've tightened the belts up. Because we can only get the belt so tight with the front. Like that. And that's all the way. So they're as close together as they can get them. So now we've got to pull this tight. And that's going to be a problem. Let's put it up there. So if we don't lock the carriage in place, as we're pulling these belts, they'll twist and it will twist around. Okay, let's tighten this up a bit. Keep going. I think I might have done that too tight. Yeah. Just make sure everything's still okay. Okay, so there is a fair amount of tension on there, and then we can tighten it up more with the nuts on the back. Okay, so yeah, that's, I don't know the exacts, I'm not going to measure it, but they are nice and tight. You can go fancy and measure the resonances and stuff like that. You can see I just tighten those up, so it's put tension on the belts, and now we can tighten up the motors. Okay, so that is that in place. I hope that doesn't have to go a special way. We can take these off. And now we are moving the belts. So to get the next part moving, we will have to cut these down so that the hot end fits on. So this has to go over that, like that. So you can see now that I've cut those down, it's going to be very difficult to pull those through again. Okay, I've got to take this apart now. So it's quite easy. It's just two screws that go in the front. And then the sides come off. And the sides are quite clever. They've got channels that hold everything in place. Let's take off these wires, because they're going to annoy me. Okay, so that's the basic of the hot end, and that just clamps together and holds the E3D V6 in place. Now we've got to get the inside of this clamped onto that part that we've just put on. I think they're 35s. Yeah. Okay. So hello to everybody that's watching. So now it's just a matter of getting this can't remember how it goes. There we go. Okay. So that goes like that. Let's turn that around. Bollocks. So that fits over the bit with the belts, and then we put screws through. And there are threaded push fits on the other side. Okay, and then we fit this onto the rail on the top. Like that. Lost one of the screws. So that is our belts in place, our hot end in place. And you'll see that there's the end switch on the side, and that pushes onto that knob just there. We can worry about the wiring in a little bit. I don't know if I talked about the bed in the last one. So I am machining my own bed. This is the temporary one with the magnets. Oh, why do you have to do that? Why does it pause all the time? And I will be eventually doing a new one in the actual cast stuff. But I've got the magnetic sheet. You can see the parts where the magnets are underneath. So I'm wondering if I need to put another magnet like in between the 9 that are already there. It's quite strong. And it'd be okay for PLA, but if we do enclose this and we go for higher temps, then that could be a problem. Yeah, so this has got a bit of a interesting Z end switch. So there's a switch underneath there. I need to find something better for this. That sits in an idler, and then the hot end pushes down on it and basically makes it click. And then there'll be like a special homing position, so it can home, and the nozzle goes like slightly lower than the bed. It's a bit weird. There are other ways of doing it, but that's how the files say it should be done. So now we need to connect everything up. I need to set the jumpers up on here. Okay, so we have TMC 228. So in this case, we only want to have one jumper. We need to remove all of the others and then leave this one jumper in place. Let's get something to do that. Ow. So it's the second one needs to stay in place. Oh, I hate it when you're doing these and they grip your skin. Okay, so that's for the X and the Y motors. That's for the Z, and the Z is actually shared between the third and the fourth one in case you have dual Z motors. So 1, 2, 3, miss that one, and then the extruder goes on the next one. make it the same anyway. One, two, three, four. And so on. Okay. I'm not sure. Which way are we putting the drivers in? It'll be the same as the so I think it goes that way. I don't have a full instructions for this board, for these specific drivers. Oops, that's wrong. And then we miss one, and then that's that one. I'm going to find a picture. Okay. So it does say top goes to the top. So that's what I've done. So that's the drivers, that's the A, the B, the Z, and the extruder. And then we've got our end switches. Doesn't really matter which one goes in where because we can program that up. So that's the Y. That's the Z. That's the X. Again, we'll do all the cable management later. I'm just going to plug in the hot end heater. And we've got heater 0. Doesn't matter which way you put the heater cables in. Then we have the thermistor for the hot end. Let's have a quick look at my picture. So that one. So I believe it is that one. So heaters go in here and fans go there. We can change fans between 5 volt, 12 volt, 24 volt. 3 fans that are always on. Then we have thermistor bed, thermistor 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we want TH0 for the hot end. So that goes in there. And our extruder goes there. Now we need to connect up the stepper motors. No doubt I'll get this wrong at the start. So we'll just plug one in. And if we get this wrong, it will just move in the wrong direction. Okay, that's one. So that is our A and B. The next motion was the Z. Which is just down here. So I'm going to have to like cut all these down and recrimp them. Okay, and then the last one is for the extruder motor. And I have a Titan, an E3D Titan. So I would like to go with a direct extruder, but this is what I have. So this just fits on here, and like an ender, it feeds the filament up. Titans are really good though. That goes on there. So on these, the Z is shared. Like I said, if you have like dual motors on the Z, so we miss one, and then that connects up our extruder. The last part that I have is this touch screen. But the wires are not long enough to get to the front. And I'm not sure if these need to be wired differently. So EXP1 is at the back. EXP2. So we won't be able to see this really from the front, and it won't do anything until we've programmed it into the Klipper firmware. Leave everything out of the way. So yeah, so we've got all of this cable mess to deal with. I will do that off stream. We'll worry about that. And we've also got to put the cable chain on the side. I only have this big clunky one, so I've been designing some brackets, so that will go in there like that, and it will hold all the wires from the bed in place. So really, I think we are at a point of thinking about turning this on. So much to think about. So I'm fairly sure that it's already programmed with Klipper. I don't remember if I put in a fixed IP address or if it's going to pick one up. I really need a drink. So yeah, with anything, when you first turn it on, it's always very nerve-wracking. After spending so much time in all of these parts, I could just blow it up. I need a drink. Not that kind of drink. Okay. So we do have a switch with a fuse on the side. Make sure that we turned off. I have double checked that all of my wiring is correct. Yeah, that's a good idea. I do have one. Probably expired. I've never used it. Let's make some room. Okay, the power lead is in. Let's turn it this way so we can capture the smoke. And nothing happened because I unplugged it. Oh my word. Why did I unplug it? Right, let's try again. Fans are spinning. Things are happening. No smoke. Excuse my head. I swear I heard a pop. Okay. Now I need to find the IP address. Maybe I used it on the plug-in. Let's try that. Yeah, that's flashing. Okay, we have an IP address. And we have Klipper. So we have a host temperature and an MCU. And we have just a basic empty configuration. So it's a matter of, hi Grant. So yeah, now it's a matter of setting up the configuration in Klipper. Let's turn that off. Let's move this out of the way because we don't need that. Need a chair. So we do have the config file. Oh, sitting on my microphone. So we want, let's have a look in. So this is the Octopus configuration, and it has the basics for this board. So as far as what the pins are and where everything is connected to, but you can see everything is grayed out at the moment. So we don't have a heated bed. So I should be able to just change these to 2208s. So X. There we go. So these are all of our pins. And it's a matter of linking these two together. So X, diag pin, probably need to double check these. These are for the display. Let's go to our downloads. So yeah, this bit is going to be not that interesting. So we do have a config, but it's not for this exact board, but it's close enough It's just the pin names that need to be changed. So we can copy the printer is a Core XY. Where's the display? Let's go back up. Okay, let's go back to our picture. So step X, step pin, PE2, direction pin, PB4, and stop PF3. Can't read what that says. PA3. PA3 and stop PF4 and PF5. Okay, so looking at this, our basic configuration should be enough to get it moving. So we've got our X configuration with the pins, our Y and our Z, our extruder. Printer is a Core XY. We've then programmed in our stepper motors. Let's turn off the diag pins. And there's loads of stuff that needs to be tweaked yet. So I think that's enough. Oh. Extruder. PE3 is our hot end. So heater PE3 and our sensor THO. So again, lots of stuff to be set up, but that should be everything that we need. So I'm just going to, let's have a quick look at that. No, does it include? Where's the display? I'm not sure how to set the display up at the moment. So now that we've done all of that, we can just save and restart. See how many errors we get. Wow, look how high that CPU load is. So we do have a temperature on our extruder. Needs a fan, definitely needs a fan. Machine. Right, so the next thing that we need to do is the end stops. So they're all saying that they are triggered, probably because they are inverted. End stop pin. Let's check on our end stops. So none of them should be inverted. Save and restart. And they're all still triggered. I can't bloody... let's do that one. Right. So just push that over. Why is going to annoy me? I wonder if they're wired up differently. So it's signal, ground, 5 volt. Oh, okay, they are wired wrong. Oh. I'm going to turn this off. So they're all wired wrong. I hope I haven't blown anything up. So I need to swap the red and the white wires around. There's a chance that I've blown this up. Coming out. Yeah, the problem with this, Ollie, is it puts 5 volt onto the signal pin. That's that one. Yeah, so do I. I'm getting angry now. Okay. Switch it back on. Come on. It's taking forever. Same address. Have I blown it up? Have I blown it up? Ooh. It's not connecting anymore. Oh, phew! I'm guessing it didn't like being switched off while it was running. They still say triggered though. Okay. Let's try again. Nope, it still says triggered. Okay, so it looks like I could have damaged the X end stop, or it's not connected up properly. Luckily, we have more than one. So let's go to our printer config, and we want 1, 2, 3 PCO. And they also want to be that way. Well, no, it's pull up, inverted. Yeah, so these have got pull-up resistors on there. So I still need the pull-up resistors. And then I just invert them. So now we've got two triggers, two end stops that are triggered. So I definitely blown up one end stop on the board. And if we take those two off, oh, you can't see. So these are our end stops. End stop X and Y are open. Refresh. End stop X and Y are triggered. So that's the end stops. Let's try the Z. Yep, all three end stops are working. Move those out of the way. Okay. Wow, that CPU is running really high at 87%. Could be that it's checking for updates. So the next thing is just to check that the extruder works, but we don't have the fan connected up. We could quickly just put that up to 30 degrees. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. Oh, Oh, it's PA1, yeah. Okay. It's not reading the thermistor correctly. I'm just going to turn on. Do I have it? I think this one will do. So just telling it the correct type of extruder. Yep, temperature is going up. And we'll quickly turn that off because I don't have a fan connected to it. So we could get the fan plugged in. That processor on that CB1 is showing really high temps. Nothing's getting warm. Okay, so now let's look at the motion system. So we verified our temperature. We verified the end stops. So now we want to use what's called a stepper buzz. Oh, I missed the first part off. So we do a stepper buzz command, which will quickly move one motor a little bit. And we should see something move. No, it's not reading the UARTs properly. Oh, I didn't save that. 8, 8, 8, 8. It's because it crashed, it didn't save it. Okay, let's try again. Let's have a look at so it could be that I've got them configured wrong. Copy master. One S6. Okay. So I bet they're on the lower position. Okay. don't know when it's turned off. So it could be that I just got them set up for step direction. Yeah, a bit of trouble with the stepper drivers. bugger. Could be that I'm in the wrong place. Let's try moving the Y in case that's an actual faulty. Could be a faulty driver. No, it's not that. Uh, okay, I'm going to have to do some soldering. I don't know what that jumper's for at the top. It's bugging the hell out of me.
I want to make a quick video. A bit more than a month ago, something like that, I made a video about selecting 12 or 24 volts. It looks like some people get confused of what I meant. I was speaking about in general you can do with the board. So I wanted to make sure that it was clear to everyone what the board is capable of doing with the power input of the board and the separate power input for the motor power of drivers. The motor gets the power from. So you can set it in one way and it gets the power from this terminal of the board. Or you can set it in another way and you can get the drivers to get the power from the motor drivers, which is the preferred way to do it, because you can separate the power from the board to there are jumpers and there are 3 pins. So on the back of the board, also this is in the manual, so you can read the manual about from the back of the board. Let's see if you focus. Okay, here you can read VBB or HV on the left side on the top. Okay,
So those jumpers across the top are just selecting the power, but I am already doing that anyway, because I have got power going to them.
which power I will attach here to the motor terminal, whatever is 12, 24, 48, or 56, this will drive this driver. Now, if you don't put the jumper in HV, but you put it on VBB, even if you put the power there, it will use this other power from the board. So I was using 12 here, 12 volts for the board, and today we're going to talk about how to install.
So I'm just going to have to do some video watching.
2208 on the. So I'm going to actually show you how the end stop operates. So let me back into it further. It is right here. Now push that in. So that's the first step.
Then we want to use the stepper driver, and as you can see, it's red on one side, black on the other. So we have to align those and then insert it. Now,
Okay, so after watching that video, I didn't know that. Red on one side, black on the other. I've put them in wrong. Oops. Okay, so now I've matched up the red and the black of the drivers to the sockets. Hopefully that's going to be correct. I'm making some really stupid mistakes today. We'll see how we go this time. Hopefully I haven't damaged anything else. So if anybody's just joining, we've got the belts connected up. We've connected up all the electronics to the board. So we have the Big Tree Manta M8, and I had the end stops wired backwards, so one of those no longer works. And I've just realized that I plugged the drivers in backwards and they weren't talking to the UARTs, which was the first giveaway. So I've just corrected that, and we are looking to do our stepper buzz. No. Okay, so one of those motors is definitely faulty. But I'm not seeing any movement. Okay, so I think we're going to have to do plan B. Where have I put those? So plan B would be using these old, just rubbish drivers. You have no patience, Ollie. Okay, disable all of those. Save and restart. Shut down. So now we're going to so we know, I know I want 16, which is high, and it's 1, 2, and 3 high. It doesn't actually help me. Oh, that first motor driver was really hot. Missing 2 jumpers. We'll borrow 2. One. I'm not sure what to do. I might call it and do some research. See if the octopus is the same. Okay, so there's an appendix. Come on. Okay, we'll just download the whole lot. I don't have any windows. They've got bars on them, Ollie. I personally think with all of the jumpers as they are default, that's how it should be for these drivers. Getting there, it's just downloading. Come on. We're so close to having my goal of just getting it moving. There we go. So high, high, and high. So they all want to be on the lower position. It says high, high, and high. Connecting the jumpers between the upper two rows will set the middle pin to 0. Connecting them between the lower two rows will set the middle pin to 3.3 volt, except for the jumpers in the first column where it will connect SLP and reset. So we're going to move them all low. Why couldn't it tell me that in the other manual? So I've got to move all of these jumpers down. bugger. Okay. And if we follow that, enabled is the top corner. Okay. So looking on my other board, yeah, went that way. Okay, let's try this again. No retreat, no surrender, Ollie. Okay. And we've disabled. Need to disable all of these. So no fancy York communications, just basic step and direction. Motor is moving! We have movement! Or the motor is moving. And Z motor is moving. Whoops, I just dropped all the faulty drivers. They're all faulty anyway, so it doesn't matter. See, you have to have faith. Faith in my persistence. Can I get the desktop on there? Okay, let's turn me off. And we need to try doing a home. So this is where we'll find out if I've got things wrong. So if we home X. Wow, look at that, it homed the X. No. Emergency stop. So we just homed it in the wrong direction. So now I need to look at the configuration from the other machine. Okay. So step at X. Position and stop. 153. Position min. So now do you see, Ollie, how awesome Klipper is? We're not compiling, I'm just changing a script and changing the direction that it homes and the position and all that kind of stuff. So on the Y, we could just copy that over. So Forget that, forget that, forget that. So there is a homing override. I'm not going to put that in just now. Oops. That's in my way. Could be that I've got the motors the wrong way round. When things are moving in the wrong directions on Klipper, it's just because the motors are wrong. You don't have an actual like going left and going right. No. So we reverse. If we reverse the direction pins for the X and the Y, so that's at now position 153, and it still goes forward. Mm. there's something somewhere that tells you when things are moving wrong. I'm pretty sure if I reverse the direction of these, it won't do anything. Nope. Okay, let's try changing the motors and inverting. Does it say which is which? Just have to keep trying the combinations. Did I miss? But then the Y goes wrong. Hooray! No, I think the X is going in the wrong direction. Turn the motors off. Home X. No, it's going in the wrong direction. Ooh. Okay, it was on Boogaloo. So I had this problem before, I swear. So let's have a look how I did it before. There is that command. but they're not inverted on there. It's really annoying. So, X. Grrr. Check. So, first one. Definitely go in there. Okay, now they're both moving in the wrong direction. So now we reverse the motors. Yay! Wow, that took forever. I can't really do the Z. I don't trust the Z. But now we should be able to move X minus 10. Yep. Those wires are really annoying me. Okay, so home X, home Y. Go to position 75. Position 75. Wow! So, we need to look at this Z probe next. Or we could call it and so I've got it moving. Do I mess about with the Z probe or do we call it for today? We got it to move how I wanted. Pardon me. And then I'd look at all the other bits and do another stream when we're ready. I think we'll call it and I can have some food. So we broke the X end stop on the board by frying that one, and then I either blew up the drivers by putting them in wrong or they were already faulty. I'm pretty sure one or two of them are faulty. So at the moment we're using very basic step direction drivers, so nothing fancy, but we're using parts that we've got. Okay, so yeah, let's call this part of the stream over and I will do more work in the background. If I threw everything out the window, I wouldn't have any windows left. Do you get people hanging around your windows, Ollie, looking for all the stuff that you throw out? I'm sure your neighbours love all the tech that you've thrown out the window. It's a shame that your new board didn't work properly, but I'm sure that you can get a fix going enough to do the rest of the testing. That shouldn't be a problem. And then you can always release the files and depending on what you're doing with it, I guess. But I'm very happy with the progress. We do have it working. We do have it moving. Yeah, you can definitely throw the 3018 out the window. I don't blame you for that at all. I don't know if I actually warned you at the beginning because I tend to warn everybody else that's bought one. The only person that I've seen that has made PCBs is that Jason in Australia. And he seems to be able to make them on his machine quite well. Obviously, what he doesn't show is all the failures. But he posted one recently, and he seems to be able to do it. So I don't know what his secret is. Pardon me. Maybe we need to ask him, what is your secret? Why can you do it and we can't? How long we've been streaming anyway? So you have seen the boards that he's made. He did post one in the last week or so. I don't know. How do we find him? I can't remember how to find him. So yeah, so I've been streaming for 3 hours, and I think that's enough. So thank you, Ollie. It was nice to chat to you again. Thank you for always being here. And I'm going to end the stream and have some food and contemplate my life. So I'm pretty sure he's got the same machine, just a basic 3018. It didn't look like it was anything fancy. So unless he's doing something like his wasteboard or what he's machining off, like he set up something like I have, I don't know. So yeah, thank you, Ollie. Thank you for watching, and look forward to the next stream. Should have some bits. Yeah, that was it. So the next parts to do really is get the screen working. Then I've got the drag chain to get connected up, and the part that goes on the top where the Bowden lead goes in, and I need to order a special fitting, and I didn't have one. I tried to budget, but I couldn't do it. And then we can get the cables going over the top and do all the cable management, and then actually try doing melting some plastic. Don't have the bed heater on at this time, so that's another thing to look at. But I want to machine my bed, and I'm still looking for magnets. I can't find the magnets that I want to do the high temperature without paying a small fortune. So that is a bit of an issue with my budget more than anything else. I could just stick with the low temperature ones and see if I can find high temperature, the same dimensions, so I can just swap them over. But I don't really want to machine that other bed until I know exactly what I'm doing with it. So it could be that we are printing cold on this bed to get going. So yeah, I'm definitely going to call it now. Thank you everybody that watched, and I look forward to the next one after I've done a bit more prep. Bye.